Hello, sewing people of the internet. So this is long overdue and not quite what I was expecting to do, as is often the case with my videos. My plans are grander than the end result. And to be quite honest, I've gotten busy and run out of motivation for sewing kind of in general for right now. I'm not quitting sewing or anything. I have a whole bunch of interests in my life, and sometimes one interest takes priority over another. Sewing's been that for a long time. So again, I want to be clear, I'm not quitting sewing or not losing interest in it in any way, but I've just got so much other stuff going on right now. That it's hard for me to concentrate on this and produce the videos that I want to produce, and if I wait until that changes, well, then I've been unfair to any of you who have been following this series and want to know my opinion, to the extent that you need to know my opinion about this machine. So this video is going to be my final thoughts on the Singer heavy duty machines. I'm doing the air quotes thing because obviously, like, whatever I say now could change later, but based on pretty significant use of the machine and given some realistic expectations about what the machine should do, I've come to a conclusion, and I'll just cut to the chase now. That conclusion is, I think this is a really good option for a DIY, make your own gear person, at least as a starter. So you can stop the video if you want to know if I think this is a good machine. Yes, I'm very impressed. It was way better than I thought it was going to be. I was prepared to just have a terrible opinion of this machine and hopefully break it, and it worked really well for almost everything. I'll get to the almost in a minute. So so if that's all you want to know, then there you go. All I'm going to do for the rest of the video is kind of explain some of that stuff and talk about some questions I've gotten and what I can and cannot tell you about them. So one of the questions I've gotten a lot is, can I compare this machine to Janome? I don't remember the model number. It's an HD like 100 or something like that. The Brother Tough and Strong, I think it's called. And the answer to that question right now is no, I can't. I bought this machine with my own money. I didn't want this machine, although it's actually turned out to be a pretty good machine, and I'm going to keep using it, at least in the rotation of machines that I use. But I am not wealthy, and the little bit of money I make from YouTube helps out, but I can't keep buying multiple $100 sewing machines just to see if they're good or not. I don't have any need for them. If someone out there wants to provide machines to me to test, I'd be interested to do that maybe, but really I don't even know if I would do that at this point because I just don't have a lot of time for it. So my guess is that they're probably comparable. I think one of my issues with the Singer heavy duty machines is that the heavy duty name, I've made this very clear I think in other videos, the heavy duty name gives uninformed people who are new to sewing, I'm not saying uninformed as an insult, like people who are wanting to get into this and think, oh, well, that says heavy duty, that's the machine that'll do the heavy duty fabrics I want to do. It gives the impression of greater capabilities than maybe it has, and that's probably true of the HD 100 or whatever it is, because I think the HD is supposed to stand for heavy duty, the tough and strong. These are all words that are supposed to convey, this is the tough, powerful machine. It's not a walking foot industrial sewing machine. It's a plastic case home domestic sewing machine, but it's pretty capable of doing some stuff. So that's the first issue, is I'm not going to be able to compare this to any other machines, at least not for the foreseeable future. Another point I want to bring up that seems to have created some confusion, even though I assume that everybody watches everything I make from beginning to end, and obviously that's not true, but I've gotten several questions about which model machine this is. To the best of my knowledge, when it comes to Singer heavy-duty machines, the model number is irrelevant. There are 2 platforms with different numbers of stitch patterns. I think there's a 24 and a 32. I'm not going to go look it up right now. That really doesn't matter to me because the decorative stitches are not something that I would use. I wish they made one without any decorative stitches. But as far as the motor power and any other specifications that would matter, they're all identical machines. The one comparison I did want to do that I'm not going to get around to doing it, is I wanted to compare the heavy duty to a non-heavy duty Singer machine, because they appear to be identical except for just a slightly less powerful motor. And I suspect that one of those machines would probably perform almost as well in most conditions. I'm curious as to where the extra power would be a benefit. I'm guessing there's some benefit to it, but I definitely have not, using this machine, I've not experienced a time where I wished it had a lot more power. It seems to be amply powerful for realistic uses of a domestic sewing machine. But the point being, if you're looking at it, it's like, oh, well, that's the 6360M, and I'm looking at the 45, whatever, I can't remember all the model names now. Doesn't matter. They're all basically the same. So if you see a good deal on a different model number, it's probably fine. The reason I chose this particular model is it came with the extension table and the even feed walking foot attachment and a Teflon foot, and just all the model numbers described as what accessories come with the machine, essentially. And I chose this based on the accessories that came with it. That's it. The machine is the same. So earlier I alluded to the fact that it has worked well for most things. The one consistent issue I have encountered, this is a bag I'm working on that I'm putting some PALS webbing on, and using I'm going to try to get this right this time, 17337 webbing that is the webbing that's supposed to be used for Molly, and it's my go-to webbing for backpack straps and pretty much all 1-inch webbing I use. Using that with V69 thread, and the needle I have in the machine is the needle that came with it. I think it's a size 100 needle. Should be an appropriate size needle for doing this. It continually struggles to get proper tension sewing through this really dense webbing. I haven't tried to change the needle. The thread and the webbing should be a good combination. I've sewn it on basically every other machine that I have, and I haven't experienced this much difficulty that I can recall with other machines. It may just be that this is just something this machine is not going to be able to do well, or it may be that if I change to a different size needle or something, it would help enough. I don't know. If you were to tell me, hey, I want to get a sewing machine, and all I want to do is sew 17337 webbing to 1000D Cordura with V69 thread, I probably would say don't get this machine. Maybe I'm just a needle change away from it being perfect. I have no idea, but I just would probably say nah, because I can use the exact same combination in other machines and I don't get this result. So again, could be me. I'm just telling you my experience. That's the one thing that has been a problem for me. If you were to tell me that you want to sew bags and occasionally you might want to do some stuff with webbing, you'd probably be able to get by. Maybe you mess around with a different needle or different thread combination. Maybe you get another machine for doing the webbing. I don't know. But that's literally the one problems, even putting it too strongly, that I've had with the machine. Other than that, it's done everything that I wanted it to do, at least as well as I would hope, and usually, honestly, a little better. So if you're going to sew 17337 webbing, I would think about it before buying this machine. If you don't usually use that kind of webbing, then it's probably fine. Also, to be fair, I don't know that I tried any other webbings because I just always have 17337 around. So I don't know if this is an issue that would happen with other webbings, but that's my experience. So everything else has been fine. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about this machine is the fact that it is almost entirely plastic gears. Singer makes a big deal about it having a metal frame, but it appears that all of their machines have a metal frame. They make a big deal about it in their heavy duty, nomenclature and stuff on their website, but everything has a metal frame that they make apparently. There might be some really low end models that don't. But basically all the gearing that I could see inside it is plastic, and I don't know that that really matters at this point. So in the vintage domestic sewing machine world, we tend to, I know I have for years, and I came to that conclusion reading stuff from other people before I got into it. We tend to think of machines with metal gears as being superior to machines with plastic gears, and I think that's generally true. But if we're looking at a 1970s, say early 1970s sewing machine with plastic gears, nylon gears in it, I would say, hey, maybe stay away from that machine, because if those gears break, which they can do, then you're probably wasting your money because the machine won't be able to be repaired, gears aren't available, whatever. Those are 50-year-old plastic gears we're talking about. I imagine that there is a circumstance where one could break or strip out the gears inside this machine somehow. I'm giving credit to the engineers wherever this was actually made, in China or whoever designed it. Singer is not the company that it was when the 201 was made or whatever, but I'm giving credit that they didn't put a motor in it that's so powerful that it would just strip the gears as soon as any resistance was encountered. So I think that this machine will probably last for some time, and I think if you're buying this is an inexpensive sewing machine relative to a higher end sewing machine. I mean, new sewing machines can cost thousands and thousands of dollars. This is $250-ish. So, if you get a machine like this and it lasts 4 or 5 years, something like that, and breaks, unfortunately, that's just the way the world is now. Like, if your refrigerator breaks, you're more likely going to buy a refrigerator than have a repairman come out and repair it. So, given that that's the way of the world, I think that the nylon gears are not that big of a deal. Sure, it would be nice if it was an all-metal machine, but it would probably be $700 instead of $200. So, I still think that a vintage all-metal sewing machine is just a better thing, right? Like, for a lot of reasons. But I don't think that that's a reason not to buy this machine, especially if you're not mechanically inclined or you want a sewing machine today and you don't want to hunt through thrift stores and garage sales waiting until you find the exact machine you're looking for. So, but yeah, it's all plastic. So far it's worked fine. I imagine it'll probably work fine for years. I guess my perspective is a little different because I have 30-something sewing machines. And so if it were to break, I would just use another machine. I would say that if you buy this as your first machine, I would, use it, find out how much you love sewing, and then start thinking about what your second sewing machine, your step-up sewing machine is going to be. That said, I know people who use these professionally and have not had any substantial issues. So that pretty much sums up my feelings on the machine. I very snarkily made a water slide decal that says "not that" to put over the heavy duty, so it says "not that heavy duty." I almost feel like I should probably take that off. That's still my biggest criticism of the machine, and if you're a new seamster looking to sew heavy bags or other items, just know that that heavy duty thing is a very relative term. It's heavy duty compared to Singer's most inexpensive and light duty sewing machines, or perhaps some other domestic sewing machines that are designed for sewing clothing, or other lightweight items. It is not a cowboy leather sewing machine. It's not a Consew 206. So just keep that in mind. Heavy duty is a marketing term, but if you're looking to sew a wide variety of things, I think this machine is a great place to start. So I hope you found that helpful. If you have questions or comments, post them in the comment section below. I'm having a hard time keeping up with responding to questions and comments these days. I will try, if you have a specific question, I will try to get back to you on that question if I can. But my apologies if your comment goes unanswered. But I appreciate you being part of the channel. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.